getting ready to drive through the Bloody Bucket. There's 40 miles of dirt road through the Bloody Bucket. We're on our way to Bigfoot in Palisades, Idaho. And because the Bloody Bucket's a Bigfoot sighting hot spot and it's on the way, we decided to drive through it and film what the Bloody Bucket's all about for you. It's nice to have a camera going when you're driving through a Bigfoot sighting hotspot because the biggest percentage of Bigfoot sightings are road crossings. Just a random road crossing, and if you don't have a camera going, you'll probably never get it. And if you got that camera sitting on your lap, if it's not running, you're probably not going to get that road crosser.
We've actually camped in this area and had some Bigfoot stuff happen. We've had, we woke up one morning to rock clacking.
Remember the morning of rock clacking, we were camping in a little tent. What woke us up about an hour before the sun come up was a coyote howling, and it was cute. I mean, you could hear the happiness in its howling voice. So that woke us up, and we sat and listened to it, and it was a good sound, and you know, cheerfully made us go back to sleep. And then shortly after we went back to sleep, the rock clacking started outside of our tent.
It went on for quite some time.
Yeah, it probably went on for almost an hour before I decided to get out of the tent and see what was doing the rock clacking. It was behind our tents, you know, opposite side of the door, probably less than 100 feet away, but there was a little hill there. So I thought, you know, I would sneak up over the hill and see, you know, what's making the rock clacking. But as soon as the zipper sound started in our tent, whatever was making the random rock clacking, it stopped and it never started up again, and I never did see what was making the rock clacking.
And we've heard some screams and howls out here.
Yeah, when we were camping out here, I think it was the very first time we were camping out here. We were the only ones back here. We hadn't seen anybody else because it was...
there was still snow.
Yeah, there was still snow on the ground. It actually rained most of the time that we were up here. I never seen any other vehicles or any other people camping. And just as the sun was going down the second night, something started up like an episode of Finding Bigfoot when they do the calls back and forth to each other. You know, and I'm like, I'm not wanting to believe it's Bigfoot. You know, I'm thinking, oh, somebody's back in here copying Finding Bigfoot, doing all their vocalizations and stuff. So we jumped in the vehicle and drove up and down the canyon and up on the top looking for who did it. You know, because I was bound and determined to find the people behind the Bigfoot screams and howls and stuff, and we didn't find anybody. There was nobody back in here that weekend but us. So I don't know what was making the Finding Bigfoot screams and howls, but we never did see another person, so it wasn't people, it was something else.
It was loud.
Yeah, those are some of the best vocalizations I've heard on a Bigfoot expedition.
Other than Yellowstone Canyon. That was, I think, number one.
I don't know, for you maybe.
Well, the one that just kept howling over and over and over at us.
one in Yellowstone Canyon was what?
It was just howling and screaming over and over and over.
All the one that vocalized like 5 times in like 30 seconds.
Yeah, and all the animals were running from it, and
yeah, it screamed across a fairly large clearing. We had just got across the clearing and just got into the tree line on the opposite side. And where we came from, where we left the clearing, the tree line on the other side, something screamed at us across the way, and my gut instinct was telling me whatever it was telling us not to come back.
yeah, it wasn't a very, it was the raunchy squatch that growled at me and was following us around all day. Not all day, just on the way back.
It started it up pretty early on that hike. It started following us and skirting us.
That's true.
And every once in a while it would whoop at us and
Have a mouth pop.
and it was very careful to stay out of eyesight.
Right after that happened, that's when Brody went and bought the parabolic mic.
Oh yeah, after it screamed across the...
Yeah, because our regular camera wasn't picking it up.
We got our camera turned on halfway through those screams. And we actually directed the camera in the direction they were coming from. The mic on that camera did not pick up those screams, even though we were hearing them clearly. So when we got back from that expedition, Brody got himself a parabolic mic and a parabolic, and then he got a microphone to hook up to it. And we've picked up a lot of good vocalizations with that since he's bought it.
We went backpacking up in Yellowstone Canyon a couple years ago.
2013.
Yeah, and I woke up in the morning to just the biggest whoops you've ever heard. It just sounded like we were hearing the howler monkeys at the zoo. Just the loudest whoops, and they just kept going up. They just did it over and over and over. And they sounded so close. Sounded like if I would have looked right out the tent, they'd be standing there. But
I'd like to point out the day before Jenny heard those whoops and stuff is the day that we got the hair that we have sent into places for analysis, and we found and casted one of the footprints not too far from that hair.
yeah, it was a good camping trip. We
Good
found
expedition.
A lot of stuff. But yeah, those whoops, they just freaked me right out.
And see, and I heard those whoops in the middle of the night. I got up to go to the bathroom. What really woke me up was it sounded like it was raining. You know, and the rain hitting the tent pretty hard woke me up. And I decided, hey, I'm awake. It's a good time to go out and go pee. So I get out of the tent and it's actually snowing. And this is in August. And it's snowing on us in the Uintas.
We were at 10,000 feet though.
Yeah, we were over 10,000 feet. Anyway, I got out and across the canyon in the direction of where we collected the hair. I heard some whoops. I went back and slept peacefully because the vocalizations were pretty far away. They weren't as close as they were the following morning when Jenny started hearing them pretty early. Yeah, that was an eventful weekend. When that stuff's happening, you kind of take it for granted. I mean, it don't happen very often, but that was a very good year for Yellowstone Canyon.
Yep.
We had a lot of stuff going on that year. Okay, I wanted to let you guys know a little bit about the Bloody Bucket. You guys are like, well, you said it's a Bigfoot sighting hotspot. What's going on, I've got over 500 videos, 120 of them are sighting report videos, but this is in the sighting reports videos. A couple of times back here, it's been reported 3 Bigfoot 3 different sizes, an 8-foot, a 7-foot, and a 6-foot. They're seen together quite often. And they're usually seen down by the river that runs through here, down by the beaver ponds and beaver dams and so forth. So they get seen quite often. In the mountains up over to your left, up over that way, there's a place called Strawberry Springs, and there's 2 really good sighting reports that come out of there. One of them is a retired police officer that told about his sighting back there, and then a couple of guys that were they were out hunting and they stopped to camp and they had a Bigfoot encounter. So, you know, there's several in this area. So I do consider it a Bigfoot sighting hotspot. Yeah, we're not too far away from Bear Lake County. There's several Bigfoot sightings in Bear Lake County. That's not too far from here. But because a family of Bigfoot gets seen here, to me, I feel like they dwell here quite a bit, maybe even raise their families here. Because, you know, obviously the shortest Bigfoot is probably the son or daughter of the 2 larger ones, or one of the 2 larger ones. However Bigfoot family groups or pods work. I don't know if they're primates. I guess you would call that a troop. If they're more human-like, what would you call them? A gang? A tribe?
A little tribe.
Yeah.
That's a good word for them. A tribe.
Yeah.
A tribe or a troop.
Okay, we're getting past where they can't graze cattle now. I don't know if you guys saw, we passed a few cows back there, the free rangers and stuff out here grazing their cattle on some mountain grass and sage. And now we're getting into the more remote reaches. And we're not too far away from where Jenny and I were camping when we got all the rock clacking that one morning.
And it was loud. It was loud and repetitive. Clack, 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 clack.
And it would sometimes stop for 5-10 minutes and then start back up again.
Yep. Clack, 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 clack.
You know, I'd sit and listen to it and start falling back asleep thinking it was done, and then it would start back up again.
Yeah, that was crazy.
You know, it's a Bigfoot sighting hotspot. We may or may not be getting Bigfoot activity back in here. You know, it may or may not be Bigfoot rock clacking. It may or may not be Bigfoot back here making the calls that they make on finding Bigfoot. And I haven't seen any of the Bigfoot everybody's claiming to see back here in the Bloody Bucket, but all the evidence is starting to corroborate. And this is a good time of year to camp, so we may run into other people back in here. You guys may or may not see people pulled over camping on either side at some point in time.
Yep. We can't rule the universe and make everybody go away.
Yeah. We can't tell people, hey, this is our Bigfoot spot. You can't camp here.
Get out.
Well, maybe that's what those Bigfoot sightings are. Maybe it's such a great place to hunt that other hunters risk their lives dressing up as Bigfoot to scare the other hunters away.
Whatever.
I know that seems less likely than they're actually seeing Bigfoot in here.
Nobody's gonna waste their time doing that crap.
Who's gonna risk their life?
Let's shoot it.
It's hunting season. Let's get in these big hairy outfits and run around in the woods where
People will shoot us.
the place called the Bloody Bucket. Yeah. People have done dumber stuff.
Yep. We were in Washington last week, and we're headed down a mountain road 90 miles from nowhere, in the middle of nowhere.
Wallowa Mountains.
And here goes a big, black, upright creature runs across the road about 100 yards in front of us, black from head to toe, and disappears in the bushes.
Also had a domed head.
And we were like, what the heck? And we go driving by and slow down to see where it had run into the bushes.
And I'm turning the camera on this whole time thinking, oh my God, if this is Bigfoot.
I know. So we get the camera turned on, and by that time it had already run down into the side of the bank. And we slow down and look down to see, and there's some creep standing there in a ninja outfit with a creepy mask on and a machete.
And, you know, the hood of the ninja outfit kind of gave him a domed head, and he had like a Japanimation style mask.
It was white.
Which was pretty creepy. And you couldn't see a flake of this guy's skin. It was all ninja outfit and gloves and a mask. And he's standing there, I don't know if Jenny said it, but he's holding a machete. But my gut instinct when he was crossing the road was it was a person all dressed in black, you know, because I had a person's profile and everything, and he ran across the road in front of us. But because he's all in black, I've never seen Bigfoot, you know, and you know, he's got the dome-shaped head, and I'm like, what the hell, you know, we're out in the middle of nowhere in the woods, you know, dozens of miles from civilization, you know, and I'm thinking, what? Even though it looks human to me, I'm thinking, is that a Bigfoot? So, you know, we get the camera on, and I'm not going to play the footage for you guys because we said some cuss words when we realized it was some creepy person running around the deep woods of... we were actually on the Oregon side of the border when that happened, headed to Washington in the Wallowa Mountains. So, yeah, you guys are ever heading along Hell's Canyon in the Wallowa Mountains from Oregon to Washington, keep on the lookout for a crazy ninja dude that wears a Japanimation mask.
And a machete. And hangs out in the woods to freak people out. Because that's what he did to us. It lasted for about a minute and a half. And it was weird. But he was just some creepy dude out there in a ninja outfit.
And I'm sure he ran in front of us because he wanted us to see him. And if you ever come across our videos, Weird Ninja Guy, I just want to say, you know, be careful, man. You're gonna get hit by somebody running across the road in front of people like that. I mean,
or shot. There could be some strange hillbilly thinking that you're a Bigfoot and they're gonna shoot you.
Well, him standing there with that machete, the way he was dressed, seemed kind of threatening.
It was threatening. It was threatening.
I'm not gonna shoot you, but I come flying around the corner at, you know, the 55 miles an hour they had on that road, and you're dressed in black at dusk like you were with us. I mean, it's kind of hard to see you, man. So you need to be more careful on your road crossings, and you may want to give that crap up. Funny thing about that creepy ninja guy was nobody knew that we were gonna be where we were. We actually, if you guys follow us, we don't announce our expeditions, and for good reason. We don't want anyone going ahead and faking stuff ahead of us, you know, because there's certain groups that do that to people. They find out where researchers go, and they go in and hoax them because, you know, they say, oh, we want to see if they can know the difference and all this bullshit. Well, the best thing is to keep your place sterile by not letting people know where you're going. So, you know, when I told Brody in our group about the ninja guy, oh, maybe somebody heard that you guys were going to be there, and so they staged all that for you guys. Well, here's the thing, is we didn't tell anyone that we were going to the Paul Freeman Bigfoot location. We didn't tell anybody till we were done with that. And then we weren't even at the Paul Freeman place. The Paul Freeman sighting location is in the Blue Mountains. So we explored the Blue Mountains, and the last full day that we were going to be in the area, we decided to go to a couple of Bigfoot sighting locations in the Wallowa Mountains and go check out Hell's Canyon. So this was fly by the seats type thing. We didn't even have it planned. So, you know, Jenny and I, the day of, let's go here. You know, we already accomplished what we wanted in the Blue Mountains, so let's go see something different, even though it was a 400-mile round trip, what we were doing. You know, we did it by the seat of our pants. So absolutely nobody knew we were coming. This was totally a random event that somebody crossed the road in front of us in a ninja outfit.
Oh yeah, it was probably just some older
some bored teenager, yeah,
kid and his buddies thinking it was funny to scare people.
You know, he was an adult-sized person. You know, he was taller than I am, and that's not hard to do. I'm 5'7", but you know, he looked like he was closer to 6 feet tall. Yeah, so.
And I don't think he was thinking he was dressed like a Bigfoot either. He was in a ninja suit with a creepy anime mask on and a machete. So he was out there
playing ninja
and freaking people out on the road. Is all he was doing.
Yeah, he's in the middle of nowhere, and that's what we're thinking. He's probably a bored teenager. So.
At least we didn't get hit by tomatoes.
That's right. Or snowballs or eggs. Yeah. I guess it was harmless fun. Yeah, harmless fun until you have the wrong person come along.
Oh, here's the beaver. The beaver dams are down in here.
Yeah, for us off to our right, there's several beaver dams, and
this is where we got all the howls and the calls.
Yeah, this is where we were camping in the Bloody Bucket, and we heard all the calls. The calls were actually coming from in the beaver area. I'm gonna pull in and see if I can get you guys yeah, we were camping near here. Back in all those willows, there's some beaver dams and ponds and stuff.
And this is the place where they saw the 3 Bigfoot, isn't it? Right around here?
No.
Oh.
It was somewhere along this river, but this isn't the exact spot. I think the exact spot's about 4 or 5 miles from here. But yeah, we're really close. Same river system. See if we can get to a spot where you guys can see down in on the beaver ponds and activity. Everybody's seen them in these willows next to beaver pond activity.
Okay, I'm gonna film down in here so you guys can see. Yeah, this is down in the beaver pond area. They have this whole area down in here blocked off. We're down into those trees.
Okay, we're coming. This ridge that we're on right now is, or it could be the the other ridge off to our right, where the trees are and stuff are. But somewhere in this direction is where the Bigfoot, Finding Bigfoot show screams. I'm sorry I'm using that as an example, but all the different variations of calls they did to each other, except for Renee's yoo-hoo, you know, those are what we heard for, I don't know, about 30 seconds. Just those several screams going around in the canyon, and then it stopped and never heard them again. Didn't do it the rest of the night. After that, I was like, you know, I was expecting a really weird night. You know, we drove around thinking, you know, it was people up here copying Finding Bigfoot. Once we drove around enough in the canyon, I mean, the first place we drove is up on this ridge that we're on now, to come back and see if anyone's back here camping. Once we got back here on the top of the ridge and found nobody, we drove the other direction down in the valley. The only two places people could be camping, and you know, the whole weekend we never saw another soul up here.
Yeah, it just really wasn't camping weather.
But yeah, I expected a crazy night, and we never heard another vocalization. And this is just as the sun, you know, we just checked out the sunset, and the sunset was going away. And it rained that day.
Yeah, it did.
It rained most of the day. In the afternoon it stopped for several hours. We got a great sunset, and then you know, it rained off and on a little bit through the night. You know, the clouds come back and everything, so I don't know. Maybe if it hadn't rained during the night, maybe we would have got some activity, blah blah blah, I don't know. Maybe because we drove the canyon hunting for the noises they stopped. You know, who knows?
all sorts of animals back in here. There's elk and deer and moose. And there's bear and wolves.
Yeah,
coyotes,
we're in an area
foxes.
that people see grizzlies once in a while. Yeah, there's a lot of wolves in this area. And lots of coyote.
Lots of coyotes.
We've seen badgers.
Fox.
Yeah, some of those photos that we've taken of animals in this area I'll have to attach to this video. Not too far from here, we got a fox last winter before it broke into spring.
Yeah, there was still snow.
It was right at the end. Oh, it was deep snow.
Yeah.
Right at the end of winter. Yeah, Jenny and I read Bigfoot all year round. The winter time, it really slows down. It makes, you know, of course, it makes it rough in the winter time. You can't get into all the places that you need to get into, so you just try and go to the ones that are Bigfoot sighting hotspots that you can get into. You know, we were on the edge of this location, the opposite side, or the direction we're going. We were actually out on pavement this last winter, checking the area, when we saw the fox in the snow.
Yeah.
We got a few photos of him before he got away. Hopefully we'll get lucky one day and that'll be a Bigfoot right at the edge of a clearing, and we're either videoing or we're taking pictures of him just before he goes into cover. That's not exactly what I'm after. best or I want better than that, but in reality, that's how stuff goes down.
Yep. Take what you can get.
Yeah. We try to improve the odds of being out there as much as possible.
Yeah, you're not going to see him at Walmart. Gotta at least be in the woods.
Those are some pretty cool pinnacles over there.
Yeah, they are.
You want to film those pinnacles, Jen?
Yeah.
Let me get to a spot where I...
Okay.
feels so nice here.
I know.
It was 100 degrees yesterday where we were at, down in the valleys.
90-something degrees today.
And it's only 75 degrees here in the Bloody Bucket.
It's beautiful.
If I was Bigfoot,
This is where I'd be.
yes.
I wouldn't be in
I'm not even a Bigfoot, and this is where I want to be this time of year. So, just putting that out there.
Yep, 75 degrees is a whole lot better than 90.
Yeah, we pretty much follow the snow line year round. We've put this together. I don't know if other researchers have, and I don't know. I really don't like to be called a researcher. I'm searching for Bigfoot, and I sometimes will research to figure out a better way to find Bigfoot. But Bigfoot sightings are usually in fairly cool places for the time of the year, except for in the wintertime. A lot of times when Bigfoot are seeing people, when people are seeing Bigfoot in the wintertime, it's a more mild temperature. So they try to stay where it's comfortable.
So does everything else. Elk, moose, bear. Even on a really warm day, they'll sleep all day long and come out at dusk and do their business at night. Arg, the grasshoppers are out. The bane of Jenny. I can take rats, mice, snakes, scorpions, spiders, bears, but I do not like grasshoppers.
Who does?
Yucky.
I know when I watch those survival shows where they start eating grasshoppers, I'm just like, I'd rather die. There's a lot of stuff I'll eat, but I don't know. Sometimes you got to draw the line. I'd rather die before I eat a grasshopper. Obviously, they're pretty damn hungry.
Yep, that's right.
If they're eating something that I would rather die before I eat. Oh, I watched my son Caleb. You guys have probably seen him on a few Bigfoot expeditions, but yeah, his uncle James, when Caleb was still like in junior high school or whatever, he caught a grasshopper and he walked up to the group of us. You know, we were at a barbecue and he held it out there and he's like, $10 to the first person that eats this. And before he even finished saying this, Caleb already had it snatched out of his hand in his mouth, and he munched that grasshopper down and swallowed it.
For $10.
And I'm like, you better pay the kid.
Yeah.
He's like, I didn't even finish, and I'm like, yep. And I just can't believe it. And I told Caleb later, I'm like, don't do that. You gotta like tear the heads off and pull the guts out, because that's where the parasites are. You know. You should have grabbed it and says, you know what, if I can eat anything but the head and the guts, I'll eat the thing, you know?
Little kids will eat anything. Especially for $10. That's nuts.
Yeah, Caleb went with us on the Jarbidge Bigfoot expedition.
And the California.
No, that was Hunter.
Oh, that was Hunter.
Yep, Hunter went on all the California hikes looking for Bigfoot with us. Hunter's 16 now. Bloody Bucket.
Why do they call it that?
In my opinion, I've heard the elk hunting here is just great. That, just talking to the locals and people that have lived in the nearby town of Montpelier, that the elk hunting is just great there. So I'm gonna go out on a limb, and maybe it's called the Bloody Bucket because that's where you're gonna get your elk. The first time Jenny and I come back in the Bloody Bucket, people were coming out with giant bull elk in the back of their truck. We come back in here and camp the first time during the elk hunting season. So we've seen it firsthand that hunters were coming out with elk. I work with this girl that's from Montpelier, and that's the closest major town to this Bloody Bucket area. So I asked her about the place before our first expedition, and she didn't know anything about it. So she's like, I'm gonna talk to my dad, you know. So a couple weeks later, she's like, yeah, I saw my dad. And he knows where it's at. And he says there's good hunting in there, and
Lots of bears.
yes, there's lots of bear. And he wanted to know why you're interested in going to the Bloody Bucket, because it says there's nothing but great hunting and bear, you know. So that's when I told her, I'm like, I'm looking for Bigfoot, and people have been seeing Bigfoot back in there. Okay, Colorado University study that a student did there, who's now a biologist. He put together the data of Bigfoot sighting reports and the data of where the elk are, and generally Bigfoot sightings are at the elevations during that time of year where the elk are. So elk will follow the snow line. Elk like to stay where it's comfortable. You know, you got a large body of hair, you want to stay where it's cool. You have no problem retaining and producing heat. And so maybe the elk are food for the Bigfoot, or they eat what the elk are eating, or both. According to that study, in my opinion. So we're in a place that's great for elk. And by the way, the 3 Bigfoot were all seen during either the deer hunt or the elk hunt. Hell, the cop that saw one not too far from here, the retired police officer, he observed it for quite a while. He got stuck.
In the snow.
Yeah, he was stuck in the snow. He's ex-military, retired police, and he's up for a drive, and I believe he was actually a police officer at the time when it happened, and he talked about it after he retired. But you know, he's just out farting around in his little truck. You know, he had a little two-wheel drive truck, and he pulled off on a dirt road not too far from here, and he got stuck in the snow. And he started to dig himself out and realized it was going to be a several-hour thing. So he just decided, you know, I'm just going to sleep in the cab of my truck, and then in the morning I will dig myself out. And he kind of slept in the upright position and stuff, and partway into the night he woke up, and it was a full moon, and it's winter time, January I believe it was. He sees an upright figure taking its time coming in the direction of his vehicle. you know, through the snow. I mean, really taking its time. I mean, taking several seconds to take a step, you know, like a cat would when it sneaks up on something before it gets ready to pounce. Just only moves here and there. And it comes up next to his truck, and he's watching it, and it gets down on its hands and knees and smells the spot where he kept getting out to relieve himself to pee while he was staying the night here. Bigfoot smelled right where he had been relieving himself while he was sleeping there that night, sniffed his pee, and peed right where he peed. Well, he had a firearm that was laying beside him, and while the Bigfoot was sneaking up to his vehicle and relieving himself, he had the firearm in his hand and had slowly moved it up to his chest. Well, the Bigfoot smelled his pee, peed where he peed, and then walked off into the forest. He pretty much stayed awake the rest of the night, laying there with his firearm on his chest the rest of the night, thinking, what in the hell just happened? You know, so that's a Bigfoot sighting that's not too far from here. After the dude retired, he gave up his story. But that very same stretch of road that he got stuck on, a Bigfoot chased a dog back to camp and ran around the camp roaring and stomping its feet until the guys just shot at it. Yeah, you guys look up my Strawberry Spring Bigfoot sightings, Bloody Bucket Bigfoot sightings. What's another one close to here? Beaver Creek. We've got that sighting report. St. Charles Canyon.
St. Charles Canyon is one of my favorite. The whistling Bigfoot.
Yeah, and several years before, two couples camping out there saw a Bigfoot. So not only the little boy, but the couple. Where those two couples saw Bigfoot the same year, the same winter, some guy back in their snowmobiling that was taking care of utility lines like the ones here coming up on the left. He was back in there working for the power company, and they're repairing one, and he was up in the tower. I mean, he was up one of these working on the wires, and he saw walking along the tree line. So that's two sightings in one exact spot, not too far from here. I'm talking all these Bigfoot sightings are within like 10 miles of the Bloody Bucket area. So that's why we consider it a Bigfoot sighting hotspot. Nice landscape. There's some beaver ponds.
There's a mama duck and all her baby ducks. Cute.
Oh, this, I think it was 2012, Jenny and I were back in here checking out the Bloody Bucket and where all the beaver dams were and stuff in the wintertime. We were finding geese nests.
Yeah.
I mean, big old goose would fly off and stuff, and then we would look around and find its nest and eggs and everything, you know, and really cool. So they're definitely nesting and stuff in here. Yeah, a lot of rivers in Utah, Idaho, Wyoming, Montana, along the riverbanks, and I'm sure there's probably everywhere else too. This is where your geese and ducks, you know, raise their young. I know when they migrate, they get into big old flocks and stuff, but they generally live to themselves and stuff, you know. You'll see a male and a female. They'll be paired off, raising a brood. Heck, the river by our house that we go down and walk to all the time, the Weber River. This time of year, we see the ducks everywhere. Those cormorants.
Yeah, cormorants.
They nest there too.
And geese. Yeah, the little duck babies are the cutest though.
Uh-huh.
They're so cute.
Well, there's a lot of them here too.
Unfortunately, there's lots of fox too. So we'll go on a walk and we'll see the same mama and her babies, and one will be missing. And that's because a fox got it.
I'm sure there's more than fox that are after those babies.
I know, but it's sad.
I know, you'll see a mama, a duck on these walks that will start out with 9, or a mama goose, and by the time they're big enough to be by themselves, she'll have 2 or 3 left, and you'll see the same ones, and you know, 1 or 2 will be picked off since the last time that you've seen them. It's sad, but that's how it works, you know.
It's true. I guess the fox.
And you always look at the little one that's hanging behind, and you know, and that's the one that's next.
Oh, poor baby.
Uh-huh. It's the one that stays next to mom that makes it as an adult. The clingy ones.
On our last trip to Washington, we just saw a mama deer with 3 baby fawns. You don't see that happen very often. Sometimes it'll have, lots of times they'll have 1. Sometimes they'll have 2, but very few and far between will they have 3 babies.
Yeah, she's gotten them pretty far. She'll probably lose 1 or more in this winter, though.
Maybe not, but they still have little spots.
They have a really good chance making it into wintertime, as big as they are. It's amazing she hasn't lost one. Yeah, these Bigfoot expeditions, we start to get to know some of the deer. You know, you'll see one that has a deformed antler, you know, a male, and you'll see it a second, third time, and you know it's the same one. And
or a scrape on its face, or whatever, weird markings.
Once in a while you get to know one.
Our base camp in Duchesne County, there's a little herd of deer that you can always tell is the same herd of deer. They always come out at the same time of night. They're in the same spot.
Oh, this side of the Bloody Bucket's just gorgeous. In a couple of new homesteads too.
That's right. I'd want to live back here too.
Yo, I want to live where Bigfoot does. In saying we want to live where Bigfoot does, You know, we feel very fortunate. We live close to a lot of Bigfoot sighting hotspots. We consider our Bigfoot searching range. I'm not going to say research. We're searching for the creature. We're searching for clear open footage, and so we're searching, and we do use some research to improve our odds to figure out where the creature is.
We have. There's actually been a Bigfoot spotted on the road that we live on.
Yep. That was back in the early 80s.
Yeah, it was a long time ago.
Like 81 or so, but the actual road that we live on, it's across the road. It was farm fields and just untouched wilderness next to the river and stuff, and a cop seen it crossing close to the river where we live, and he even spotlighted it as it ran out in the farmer's field and got into the natural trees by the river. And that same Bigfoot was seen 2 different times that night, and the canyon going into the mountains of Weber Canyon, it was seen by other people crossing some roads heading towards that canyon. So
who knows why it was there?
3 sets of people seen it that night, including an on-duty police officer that spotlighted it.
Yeah, actually, I built the house that we live in, and it was an alfalfa field before it was my house.
And now it's a neighborhood.
And now it's a neighborhood.
Mm-hmm.
That's what happens.
Yep, now it's a neighborhood. It's a populated place now. You know, people will be like, what? Bigfoot in, there? It's like, yeah. That was 30 years ago.
I did not build my house 30 years ago.
No, the Bigfoot sighting was 30 years ago.
Yeah.
And that was several people in one night. Not only did that happen, that same year there was Bigfoot sightings all around the area. That was just the incident that happened near where we live now. It was seen several times on a couple of rivers close to where we live.
Oh, we're coming back into civilization. There's a cow dog. He's ready to chase.
He scares me. I'm always afraid they're going to run in front of our cars.
He's smart. He just wanted a race.
I'd just be horrified if I hit anybody's animal or any animal. Even a squirrel.
Which we have done.
I know, and it's horrible. Alright, we're getting back into civilization. I hope you enjoyed the drive through the Bloody Bucket. It's one of our favorite Bigfoot sighting hotspots in Idaho, and we're going to go into Idaho and visit a couple other Bigfoot sightings. I hope you enjoyed our Roundtable drive with RMSO. Keep on watching. We're going to keep on squatching.